Hi there, UBAM friends. Vicki Finan here. I am super excited to be here to talk to you today. If we haven't met before, I'm a UBAM director. I've been with UBAM since 2003, so that's 17 years. When I began with UBAM, this is what my little boy looked like. And yes, almost every day, this is what my little boy looked like. If you've ever done construction on a new house, you know that there's lots of mud, and we had that, it felt like, for 7 years. I don't know. But today, what I want to talk to you about is actually about becoming a UBAM director, or what the life of a UBAM director looks like, in case you're considering something like that for part of your UBAM journey. So I'm going to show you a slideshow in just a minute and give you just a peek inside the day of many of our top directors and senior directors, kind of what we do, walk you through a few of our responsibilities, and how we make that all work by working around our families. So let's head over to the slideshow now, and then we'll meet back here later, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my story and give you an assignment to work on if this is something that you're interested in doing. First, let's quickly review the requirements to become a director or a senior director. To become a director, you need 6 first-level leaders. Those are leaders directly under you, and an executive-level leader that is somewhere within your executive group, which is your first 3 lines. To become a senior director, you need 10 first-level leaders, you need 1 director within that executive group, and you need to have been with UBAM for at least 2 years. Right now in UBAM, we have 62 directors and senior directors. 43 of those folks are directors, 19 are senior directors. Let's talk about the impact that those 62 teams of people have made on literacy and on UBAM. This year, between March 1st and May 31st, approximately 5 million books were shipped out of our Tulsa warehouse. The vast majority of those books were sold by someone on those 62 teams. 62 teams led by 62 women who chose to grow a business. The impact of growth with UBAM goes far beyond the individual. Now let's talk about where directors come from. Directors begin as consultants. Everyone who got where they are had to begin where they were, says Richard Evans. And here's a picture of Senior Director Krista McGuire at her launch party asking folks to come join her there. Everyone's UBAM journey is different, but we all start out in the same place. So let's take a peek at what a day in the life of a director looks like. To get a clear picture to share with you, I created a survey for directors about different aspects of what their time is like. About half of the directors responded to the survey, and some shared pictures. That's what we'll be looking at today. So let's start with family life. Remember, these figures represent about half of the directors with our company. So of the people who I surveyed, 100% of them are moms. Now, you don't have to be a mom to be a director, but the folks who answered this survey are. So 50% of those have littles at home with them every day. 50% have kids who attend school. 30% have kids in preschool. Some have kids in all of those age brackets. Some might have young adult children who are living at home or in college. Some have grandchildren, and some are helping to take care of elderly parents. 56% of those surveyed have partners or spouses who work long, irregular hours and aren't home much. Some have spouses who travel for extended periods of time. 70% of those surveyed have 3 or more children, and 33% have 4 or more children. And 77% of those folks working as directors who answered our survey don't have any local family who could help them with childcare. So let's look at what those families do. So the families of directors eat. Yep, They do. They have meals every single day, and they clean up after the meals. That may look a little familiar to some of you who are also making 3 meals a day for your family right now. Their families sleep. They have bedtime routines and nap time routines, which from these pictures look like they involve books. That may look familiar to most of you as well. The families of directors play. They play at all kinds of different things because there are kids in these families. You can see that Robin Wallace has some major building going on in the background of her workspace there, and Britton Sanders and Amber Valley's kids are playing with our books. And directors' families learn. Although a lot of us have been doing school from home recently, we do have homeschooling moms who are directors as well, and they're doing school from home all the time, in addition to providing extra activities for their kids, being with them all day, and working their UBAM business. Senior Director Jordan Johnson says that after she promoted to director, she realized that workload and balancing family was huge. She learned she was much happier and healthier when she prioritized family and worked just a little less. She still feels like she has a huge impact, and she feels great about her priorities this way. Senior Director Ruth Smith says that balancing work time versus family time, she thought that would be harder to balance, but it's actually easier to balance as a director. Now let's take a peek at the work life of a UBAM director. These were the 3 most popular answers that directors gave when asked how they work UBAM throughout the day. The number 1 most popular answer was that they fit UBAM in around family throughout the day and the evening. The second one was that they have a UBAM plan every day, but they're not scheduling specific times that they have to stop being with family and do those tasks. They're fitting them in. And the third most popular answer is that they do schedule some set work time for UBAM almost every day, and that could be parties at night or something else. Directors surveyed work an average of 30 hours a week. This includes their party time that they spend on personal business, training their brand new consultants and central group new consultants, and coaching their leaders and larger team. They also spend a little bit of time collaborating with home office and other directors. And remember, they're working for career level income, and they're flexing their work time around their family, and they're working from home. Let's look at some of their workspaces. There are some beautiful offices here. As you can see, there are also some corners of kitchen tables. Everyone works differently, and everyone makes it work. Let's talk about how directors do parties. Directors schedule about 2 parties each week on average, sometimes more. However, most directors did 4 to 6 parties each week as they were promoting up. Katie Allen says, when I was working on promoting was when I did the most parties. I needed lots of people in my central group so I could help them promote up. Later, my focus shifted to helping leaders grow teams. So we do know a few things about directors and parties. 97% of them use the same basic party script almost all the time. Maybe they change it up from season to season, and they use exactly that same script to train their new consultants. They get most of their recruits from parties. They're consistently booking parties every week. They're booking parties from parties. And they have a system for following up on work parties. If you're new to UBAM, you may still be learning all of those things, but it is absolutely something that you would master as you continue to grow. I think it's fun to look at where directors are actually working when they're not in those beautiful offices. You'll see people working in vans while their toddlers are sleeping, outside while their kids are playing, with a puppy in their lap, with a nursing baby. Directors make it work around their families. Let's talk a little bit about focus and what directors are focusing more and less on. So we've already learned they're giving less time, less focus to their personal business because they have mastered it. It's become routine. They're not creating new party scripts. They're not learning the basics of the business anymore, and they're not focusing on what they can't do. Instead, they're focusing on coaching leaders to help them grow, casting vision for their team, planning what their team might need, being aware of home office things so that those can go into their plans, making their personal business super duplicatable so everybody can copy them. And they're focusing on growth. Focus shifts from self to team as a director. So you're not necessarily doing the same amount of work on your personal business you were before, but you're trading off to focus on growth. Now let's talk about the results of all of this, Tiara life. Here, let's talk about some of the perks and the great things about being a director. Of course we love those tiaras. They're so fun. But there are other amazing director perks like Zooms with the home office, extra trip points at the beginning of trip contests. The senior directors love their Miraval retreat. We get goodies at convention and special pampering events. We have the opportunity to give feedback on new systems and plans. And there's an amazing $2,500 promotion bonus to director and a $5,000 promotion bonus to senior director. That's super exciting, plus you get a tiara. Let's talk a little bit more about everyday perks, like all the books that your kids can be surrounded by, like the extracurricular activities that you can allow your kids to do, that you can afford to do with the income, like horse riding lessons or letting your kids play all the baseball they want. Let's talk about the time of being a room mom or just being together as a family all day long. Let's visit that income again. The impact of UBAM income has meant so much to so many families. And let's face it, it's why many of us choose to grow teams and become directors. Here are just a few of those stories. Jill Cox said, "It has put food on our table. It's given my kids opportunities, and it's allowed us to travel and give." Catherine Barnhill talks about her husband taking a pay cut at the start of the year, but they didn't worry because they knew that her income could make up for it, and in fact, she made up for the shortfall in just the first third of this year. And then Liz Hawkinson talks about all the things she does with that career level UBAM income, including travel and a really cool gap year program for her son. Senior Director Kristen McGuire has a great story. When she was going through her divorce, instead of downsizing her home, she bought the house that Book built. And each month, her family picks new things to upgrade. It's been so fun for them to build those dreams from the ground up. She's lived solely on her UBAM income for 2 years. And now that she's getting married, she's saving money for retirement, and they're able to travel with each other and with their awesome crew of 6 kids. The income here can change lives. We'll talk now about the journey, how to get to director. First of all, again, it all starts when you're a consultant. Here's Emily Nash, Britton Sanders, and Sarah Erickson, all as consultants before they promoted. And that's Britton actually having her launch party snack. It looks pretty yummy. Of course, many of us had pre-promotion concerns. Not everybody, but some folks do. So concerns like how much they'd be able to contribute, or could they lead a team page? Did they have to do it all? Were quickly taken care of when they realized once they find their stride, those things can be easy to do, but also you have a team of upline and downline to collaborate with. Some folks are concerned that they won't fit in, that they don't have what it takes. They think they can't do the job they're seeing other people do. And then you find out that the director group is nice and collaborative and happy to see you succeed, and that you're always learning, you're always growing. Some people weren't ever concerned at all. Lana McCoy knew that she could do it, and she loved doing all of it. Many people are concerned about losing their director title after they achieve it and how that might feel. You learn after you get there that that happens to people, and it's okay because you can get it right back. You can grow right back up to director, and it happens more often than you think. So if you're someone who would love to take the director journey, but you're thinking about one of those concerns, I want to reassure you that everything you don't know is something you can learn. I love what Britton Sanders says here about the ebb and flow of your business. It's about shifting seasons, not doing all things perfectly all the time. It's about balancing things, continuing to learn. And I promise you it's worth it. Let's look at some of those what if I promoted to director stories. Katie Hewitt talks about feeling lost before she found UBAM. She was an amazing mom, but she felt like she'd lost a little of herself, and UBAM gave her herself back, which made her a better mom. How about Becky Parkinson, who talks about the freedom of this job? She loves constantly pushing toward goals and the growth, and it's kept her and her family excited for all these years. I love that Gina Shear says that this is a dream job and she hopes she can do it forever. Gina retired her husband and he stays at home with them with their kids, and they pour themselves into family and service and UBAM. What if they'd never decided to take the chance to pursue that journey? My own journey was described to me a few years ago at our UBAM National Convention when my son Donovan spoke at the closing session of that year's convention. And he talked about being a UBAM kid, growing up in UBAM with all of the perks, the books, the travel, but mostly about having me there and watching me work. And I thought to myself then, and I still think today, what if I hadn't given him that experience? What if I had allowed my hesitations to stop me from reaching out to these other amazing women on my team and helping them build a future for their families? I am so glad that everyone around me allowed me to assume success. Here's one of my favorite quotes. It's from Michael Jordan, the greatest NBA player of all time. And he says, "Why would I think about missing a shot that I haven't taken?" Hi there, here's my face again. I wanted to just share a couple more quick things with you before I leave you today. The first is I wanted to kind of show you where I'm at in my UBAM journey now. I showed you where I was at in the beginning as a consultant, not having any idea how to sell a book or do a party or any of the things with this cute little muddy boy. Last year, my cute little muddy boy graduated from his dream college, and he graduated debt-free. That is a gift that UBAM was able to provide to him, that my work with UBAM made possible for him. My husband and I are very proud of our son, and we're also very proud of that gift that we were able to give him because of our work and dedication and choices. If you are thinking that upper level leadership is something you'd like to consider, if you're thinking that sounds great and that's the direction you're going to be going with your UBAM business, I am so excited for you. If you're thinking you'd love it, but you're not sure if you can do a certain task or make it work, I encourage you to hear one of my favorite quotes and understand that we were all consultants when we started. None of us had the skill level that we have after we promoted to team leader, to executive leader, to director, and everything in between. Those skills came with us and we learned them as we went. My quote is, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined." And that is by Thoreau. I hope you remember the quote from the Michael Jordan book that I shared in the presentation. Why would I be afraid of a shot I haven't taken yet? So if you're considering this, you're a little nervous, go ahead, you haven't taken the shot yet. It could go right in the basket. You might have to practice a little to get the shot through the basket. You might have to practice a lot to get there. If it's something that you want to include on your UBAM journey, you can do that. We're cheering for you. We're thrilled that you've been here with us this weekend. We can't wait to see what you're going to do with all the training. And I wish you, each and every one of you, the best on your own UBAM journey.